the law of impermanence, embracing life's ever-changing nature. Imagine if everything in your life, your emotions, relationships, and even your own body was constantly changing. The truth is, it is. Nothing stays the same forever. The happiness we long to hold onto eventually fades, and the hardships we wish would disappear will, in time, pass. In Buddhism, this truth is called anicca, impermanence. It is one of the fundamental realities of life, yet so much of our suffering comes from resisting this natural flow. We want joyful moments to last forever, and we try to push away pain as quickly as possible. But life is not meant to be controlled, it is meant to be experienced. Think of a river. It never clings to a single drop of water or tries to stop flowing. It moves forward, effortlessly adapting to the path ahead. A tree does not suffer when its leaves fall in autumn. It simply trusts that new leaves will bloom again in the spring. So why do we struggle to let go? Why do we resist change instead of embracing it? The truth is, when we learn to accept impermanence, we free ourselves. We no longer live in fear of losing what we love, nor do we remain trapped in moments of pain. Instead, we flow with life, knowing that every joy and every challenge is just another chapter in our journey, not the final destination. Real peace isn't found in controlling life's changes, but in embracing them with an open heart. When we stop fighting reality, when we surrender to the rhythm of life, we discover a deep, unshakable tranquility, one that doesn't depend on circumstances but comes from within. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that no longer serves you? What change are you resisting? Maybe it's time to let go, to trust the process, and to step into the next beautiful phase of your life. Cause and effect, the power of karma in our daily lives. Have you ever wondered why things happen the way they do? Why some moments seem to unfold effortlessly while others feel like endless struggles? The truth is, nothing in life happens by chance. Every thought we have, every word we speak, and every action we take creates ripples that shape our reality in ways we may not even realize. This is the essence of karma, one of Buddhism's most profound teachings. Karma is not about punishment or reward, it's simply the natural law of cause and effect. Just like a stone thrown into a lake creates waves, everything we do sends energy into the world, and sooner or later, that energy comes back to us. Sometimes, the effects are immediate. Other times, they take months or even years to manifest. But one thing is certain. Everything we do leaves a mark. If we act with kindness and integrity, we plant the seeds of a brighter future. If we act out of anger or selfishness, we set the stage for struggles down the road. But karma isn't just about actions, it begins in our thoughts. Even if we never speak words of hatred, carrying that energy inside us still shapes our reality. On the other hand, a heart filled with compassion and patience radiates peace, not just for ourselves but for those around us. You might wonder, why do some people seem to do wrong without facing consequences, while others suffer despite doing good? The answer lies in timing. Just as a tree doesn't bear fruit the moment you plant a seed, karma unfolds at different paces. But the truth remains, what we put into the world eventually returns to us. This means we are not powerless. Instead of blaming others or feeling like victims of fate, we can take ownership of our choices. We can transform our lives simply by shifting our actions, our words, and even our thoughts. There's a Buddhist story about a disciple who asked his teacher, why are some people born into wealth while others face hardship? Why do some seem lucky while others struggle? The teacher answered, if you plant apple seeds, you will grow apples. If you plant thorns, you will grow thorns. Each life is the result of countless past actions, and every decision we make is planting the seeds of our future. But here's the good news. Karma is not fate. We are not trapped in an unchangeable destiny. Every single moment, we have the opportunity to choose differently, to act with wisdom, with kindness, with love. So ask yourself, what kind of energy am I sending into the world? What seeds am I planting today? Even the smallest acts of goodness, an encouraging word, a moment of patience, a gesture of generosity can create ripples that change everything. You are the creator of your life. You may not control everything that happens, but you can always control how you respond. When we live with awareness, when we choose our thoughts and actions with care, we begin to shape a future filled with harmony, fulfillment, and peace. So, what will you choose today? Attachment and suffering, the freedom of letting go. Why do we suffer? Why do we feel pain when things change, when relationships end, or when life doesn't go as we planned? The answer is simple. We cling. We cling to people, to possessions, to emotions, and even to our own ideas, believing that they will bring us lasting happiness. But nothing in life is permanent. Everything is in motion, constantly changing. And when we try to hold on to something that is meant to change, we create suffering for ourselves. Think about it. How often have you been afraid of losing something good, or felt devastated when something you loved slipped away? The problem isn't love, or joy, or success. The problem is attachment. We believe that our happiness depends on external things, a relationship, a job, a sense of control. But when those things change or disappear, we feel lost. But what if I told you that true freedom comes from letting go? Letting go doesn't mean we stop loving. It doesn't mean we stop caring. It means we love without fear. It means we appreciate what we have without being terrified of losing it. It means we live fully in the present moment, knowing that everything is temporary and that's okay. A love that is free from attachment is a love that doesn't seek to control. It doesn't try to hold on too tightly. It simply flows, accepting change with grace. When we stop resisting, we find a peace that we never knew existed. Think of a bird. It doesn't cling to the branch, it simply lands, rests, and when the time comes, it flies. This is how we should move through life, enjoying each experience, cherishing each moment, but never clinging so tightly that we cannot move forward. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is causing you suffering? What are you afraid of losing? Maybe it's time to loosen your grip, to trust that even when things change, even when life takes a different path than expected, you will be okay. Because real peace isn't found in holding on, it's found in letting go. The wisdom of acceptance, flowing with life. Life doesn't always go as planned. We set goals. We dream of how things should be. And yet, reality often unfolds differently. And when it does, we struggle. We resist. We ask, why is this happening to me? But what if, instead of fighting against reality, we learn to accept it? Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean we stop trying or that we should settle for less. Acceptance is clarity. It's the ability to see things as they are, without resistance, without wishing they were different. Much of our suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, it comes from how we react to it. We get frustrated when things don't go our way. We feel hurt when people don't behave as we expect. We cling to the past, unable to let go of what was. But the truth is, life moves forward, with or without our approval. Imagine a river. It doesn't resist the rocks in its path, it simply flows around them. This is the wisdom of acceptance. Instead of struggling against what we cannot change, we learn to adapt, to move with life rather than against it. There's a well-known Zen story about a farmer whose horse ran away. His neighbors came to console him, saying it was a terrible misfortune. But the farmer simply replied, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" A few days later, the horse returned, bringing several wild horses with it. The neighbors celebrated his good luck. Again, the farmer said, "Who knows if this is good or bad?" Soon after, his son tried to tame one of the wild horses, fell, and broke his leg. Again, the neighbors lamented, calling it a disaster. But the farmer remained calm. Who knows if this is good or bad? A few weeks later, the army came to the village to recruit young men for war. Because of his injury, the farmer's son was spared. What seemed bad turned out to be good. And what seemed good might have been bad. Life is like this. We don't always see the full picture right away. What feels like a setback today may turn out to be a blessing tomorrow. Acceptance means trusting this process, knowing that every experience, even the painful ones, has something to teach us. This doesn't mean we shouldn't take action when necessary. If something causes suffering and we can change it, we should. But if something is beyond our control, resisting it only creates more pain. True wisdom lies in knowing the difference. So ask yourself, what are you fighting against in your life? What would happen if you chose acceptance instead? When we stop struggling and start embracing life as it is, we find a peace that no external circumstance can shake. Because happiness isn't about controlling everything, it's about learning to flow with whatever comes our way. Hidden lessons. Finding meaning in adversity. Life doesn't always make sense. We face hardships, loss, failure, illness, and heartbreak, and we wonder, why is this happening to me? It's easy to see challenges as obstacles, as unfair burdens we must endure. But what if we looked at them differently? What if every struggle carried a hidden lesson, waiting to be discovered? In Buddhism, there is a deep understanding that nothing happens in isolation. Every event, every difficulty we face is part of a greater web of causes and conditions. What seems like an obstacle today may actually be shaping us into the person we are meant to become. There's a Buddhist story about a disciple who saw a caterpillar struggling to emerge from its cocoon. Wanting to help, he gently opened it for the butterfly. But when it emerged, its wings were weak, it couldn't fly. What the disciple didn't realize was that the struggle to break free was necessary. The effort was what strengthened the butterfly's wings, preparing it for flight. And isn't life the same way? Our struggles shape us. They build our resilience, our strength, our wisdom. Without them, we wouldn't grow. Of course, in the moment, pain feels unbearable. We want to escape it, to fast forward through the hard parts. But if we can pause, if we can step back and ask, what is this teaching me? We open ourselves to transformation. Every challenge is a choice. We can let it break us, or we can let it build us. The truth is, we don't always get to choose what happens to us, but we always get to choose how we respond. Think about the most difficult moments in your life. Looking back, can you see how they shaped you? Can you see the strength, the wisdom, the compassion that grew from them? This doesn't mean we have to enjoy suffering, but it does mean we can choose to find meaning in it. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? We can ask, what can I learn from this? Because when we shift our perspective, when we start seeing difficulties as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. We no longer fear them. So the next time life challenges you, remember, every struggle carries a lesson. Every hardship is an opportunity to grow. And if you have the courage to face it, you will come out stronger, wiser, and more at peace than ever before. The practice of mindfulness, living in the present. How often do we truly experience the present moment? Our minds are constantly drifting, either lost in memories of the past or worrying about the future. We replay old conversations, regret past mistakes, or anxiously plan for what's next. But in doing so, we miss the only moment that truly exists, right now. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present. It's not just about meditation, it's about how we live. It's about bringing our full awareness to every action, every breath, every moment. Think about the last time you ate a meal. Were you truly savoring each bite? Or were you distracted scrolling through your phone, lost in thought? When you talk to someone, are you fully listening? Or are you already thinking about what to say next? We spend so much time rushing through life that we forget to actually live it. In Buddhism, the mind is often compared to a restless monkey jumping from one thought to another without rest. Mindfulness is the way we train that monkey to calm it down, to bring it back to the present. A simple way to practice mindfulness is through the breath. Try it now. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Notice how the air feels as it moves through your body. That's mindfulness, being fully present in this one small moment. The more we practice, the more we realize that peace is not something we have to chase, it's something we create by being present. Mindfulness also helps us respond instead of react. How often do we let anger or frustration control us? When we are fully present, we gain the space to choose our response, to act with clarity instead of impulse. In Buddhism, it is said that every moment is an opportunity to awaken. The beauty of life is not found in the past or the future, it's found right here, in the little moments we often overlook. So take a deep breath. Feel the ground beneath your feet. Listen to the sounds around you. This moment is your life. Don't miss it. Transforming the mind from pain to enlightenment. Our minds can be our greatest ally or our biggest source of suffering. More often than not, it's not what happens to us that causes pain, it's how we perceive it. We react automatically to life's challenges, letting emotions like anger, fear, and frustration take over. But what if we could step back? What if, instead of being controlled by our thoughts, we could observe them, understand them, and transform them? Buddhism teaches that the key to inner peace is learning to watch our thoughts without getting lost in them. Imagine sitting by a river, watching the water flow. Each thought is like a leaf floating by. You can notice it, Acknowledge it, but you don't have to grab onto it. This is the power of awareness. When we recognize our own patterns, we gain the ability to change them. If we constantly dwell on negative thoughts, they shape our reality. But if we choose to cultivate compassion, patience, and gratitude, our entire experience of life shifts. A simple but powerful practice is this. Whenever a negative thought arises, pause and ask yourself, does this thought serve me? Does it bring me peace or suffering? If it brings suffering, let it go. Choose a new thought, a kinder thought, a thought that leads you toward peace. Transformation doesn't happen overnight, but step by step, as we learn to release old patterns and cultivate a more mindful, loving way of thinking, we begin to reshape not only our minds but our entire lives. So remember, you are not your thoughts. You are the observer, the creator, the one who chooses what to hold on to and what to release. And when you choose wisely, you create a life of wisdom, peace, and true inner freedom.